Greetings gamers, it's Adam with Errata Non Grata, and there's a new Atari game announcement today, and it's Qomp, or yeah, I guess it wouldn't be Qomp since there's no U there, but Qomp2. I never played the first one. I maybe vaguely remember hearing about it back in the day, whenever that day was, but here's the trailer for Qomp2, where per the press release that Atari sent out this morning, it's an artful reimagining of the classic game that launched the modern video game industry, aka Pong. And they mention there that it's coming to PC and consoles in 2024, captures the simplicity of Pong by giving players only 2 buttons to navigate a series of labyrinthine levels packed with harder-than-they-look challenges. And stepping into the spherical body of the renegade runaway, players will ping-pong their way through the dangerous, minimalistic world of Qomp2. With a variety of enemies and bosses helping to mark the journey, the escapee will adventure through 30 challenging levels across 4 distinct worlds. And as you can see from the trailer as well, there's occasionally some other Atari-related items. I don't know if you could call them characters, but I saw the Warlord's paddles from the Atari 2600 version, not the arcade version, which were different. The arcade version, there we go, in there too. Obviously, I watched this beforehand, but interesting concept overall, and does take things in a slightly different direction than you might expect Pong to do. Now, of course, Atari's done that with Pong Quest, which I have not played at this point, and here's, it's coming to everything out there, and again, I'm still surprised that they don't do some sort of special edition for the Atari VCS, maybe give it a little extra content, like extra levels or something, since that is their platform. But speaking of sequels, or I should mention, I guess, before I get into that, from the press release, it mentions that this has been designed by Graphite Lab, who also produced notable Atari titles Combinera, Mr. Run and Jump, and the upcoming Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures Deluxe. And it also mentions key features of the game being cerebral puzzling, bounce between emotions, surprises galore, and bountiful bosses. And so I'm not sure if the bosses were shown there in the trailer or not. Like, there was that kind of chompy character, but it didn't look like it was in a boss setting exactly. So I'm not sure there. But yeah, this one does look interesting. I like things that are that guy right there. I like things that are in a different direction. I'm not sure if you do, but speaking of Pong sequels, since I'm an arcade nerd, I mean, maybe some don't realize that Atari's actually had quite a few sequels to Pong over the years, and they did so back in the day. Now, after Atari released Pong in 1972, there was an explosion of Pong clones that hit the market, and it actually became difficult to compete for a lot of companies to get ahead because the market became saturated so quickly. I think it was just by 1974, it was inundated with ball and paddle games and Pong clones, or Pongabees, like a wannabe. But even Atari had to address that by releasing new versions of Pong to hopefully capture some of the market. In fact, it's believed that a game called Paddle Battle by Allied Leisure Industries, a company that was based out of Florida, that it sold more than Pong actually did. Now, I've never seen the exact Pong sales numbers. For as much research as I've done into the industry, for some reason that doesn't seem to be something that anybody agrees on. I mean, it was obviously several thousand, but Paddle Battle is somewhere between 20 to 30,000 sales. And so kind of surprising that they managed that, although I think the reason why is Allied Leisure existed before Atari did. They were founded in 1968, and they were developing electromechanical arcade machines prior to the video game, and so they already had an established manufacturing base and distribution base, and so that's probably what allowed them to kind of get the jump But it was this Allied Leisure, one reason why I'm bringing them up is they forced Atari's hand to release their Pong sequel sooner than they wanted to. And I recently discovered an interview with Nolan Bushnell from 1975 in Playmeter magazine, where he mentioned Tennis Tourney, which was the first 4-player video game, and that was designed by Allied Leisure, and it came out in 1973. And it forced Atari to release Pong Doubles, the official Pong sequel, which we can see here, much sooner than they had anticipated. They were wanting to wait until '74, the spring of 1974, to release this, but again, with Tennis Tourney coming out, released it too soon. But this actually had a negative impact where it ticked off a lot of arcade operators who had already invested in a Pong or in one of the Pong clones out there that were all 2-player, and there were complaints that Atari was, forcing them to upgrade, or they were obsoleting Pong so quickly. But again, they did that out of a response to Allied Leisure. But Pong Doubles was kind of the first sequel in the video game industry, and it was Atari's first 4-player game. But as you can see, if you go to clov.com or also arcade-museum.com, and you go to Pong, and the legacy here shows a bunch of Pong successors. Now, not all of these were released. Like, I don't think Barrel Pong was mass-produced, but very distinctive cabinet for what it was. There was Super Pong, which came in a cabinet that was a lot like the Pong Doubles, but was 2 players, and it had different variations with the ball speed and alignments of the paddles, and the ball would be served from random positions on the screen instead of the same place every time. There was... Now, one thing that I don't understand about this list, whoever put this legacy list together, is it's not in order of release. It's not even alphabetized, so it's just kind of hodgepodge all over the place. But one that would have been another 1974 release, or maybe I should focus on the 73. So like Snoopy Pong, as well as Puppy Pong Snoopy Pong was not released because the estate of Charles Schultz, they sued Atari when they found out about this, and so that prevented production of it. But there was Puppy Pong designed, but I'm not sure if many of those existed. They were made just for they weren't made for arcades. They were made for like dental practices and places where kids might be located, and I don't even think they were coin operated. And so there was that, and same thing with Dr. Pong, which I don't know that this was ever completed, but it was made for doctors' offices to get Pong into there. But in '74, that's when you had most of your Pong clones. Now, these ones that you might not have ever heard of, like Rebound, Qomp2, Elimination, Spike, Goal 4, not Goal 4, but Rebound and Elimination and Spike were all designed by Key Games, which was Atari, but they had to set up a separate company to deal with stuff there. But either way, I'm getting too much into the weeds on this. There were a lot of Pong sequels. I'm kind of surprised that Atari's never commissioned somebody to go and recreate all of these games to make like a Pong collection of a sort. Now, I do understand that, some of these are just repeats of the other, like Elimination and Quadra Pong are the same game with a different name. This was through Key Games, this was through Atari, but I guess I should zoom in here so you can see better. But so it doesn't make sense for all of these to have been recreated, but at least maybe Super Pong, Quadra Pong, Pin Pong, which was, I think, the first video pinball game, and Goal 4 and Super Pong, all that, and Pong Doubles into one package. Now, I get it, those can't be emulated, so they'd have to be recreated, but it's been done with Pong. There is a great recreation of Pong on the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection, and so it's like, why not recreate all of those variations and put them into one package? I guess might be, I don't know, maybe it's not low-hanging fruit because it would take too much work to recreate those exactly, and you'd have to find the original games to study and do, but yeah. Anyways, don't know why I got onto that tangent, just that there is more to Pong's history than I guess many seem to realize, because you just don't hear many talking about these other Pong ones. But back to Qomp. I just want to say Qomp. What do you think of this one? Do you think it's a great change for what the Pong concept is? Is this a game you're going to get on whichever console it is that you own there? Let me know, and we'll see you on the next video, whenever that is.